Welcome to the most powerful story you'll hear this week, maybe even this year. This isn't just a business story. This is a human story. A story about a poor, hard-working boy from a small town who didn't have the money, didn't have connections, just a dream, a pickup truck, and a heart that refused to give up. This is the real story of a man who walked into towns no one cared about and built an empire bigger than the kings of Wall Street. He didn't wear fancy suits. He didn't talk like a billionaire. He drove his own truck, visited every store, and talked to customers like friends. This man became the richest person in America, not by cheating, not by luck, but by understanding one truth. If you help people save money, you help them live better. This story will change how you think about success. It will show you how one man built Walmart, the biggest retail empire the world has ever seen. With more than 10,000 stores, over 2 million employees, and hundreds of millions of customers every single week. But more importantly, it will help you improve your English, too. You'll learn real vocabulary, real storytelling, real motivation, all in simple, clear, powerful English. This is not just a history lesson. It's your listening practice, your English fluency training, and your life motivation all in one. So grab a notebook, pay full attention, because you're about to experience one of the most emotional, powerful, and unforgettable success stories ever told. This is not just a story of Walmart. This is the story of Sam Walton, the man who changed the world with a smile, a plan, and a pickup truck. Before there was Walmart, before there were billions of dollars, before the world knew his name, there was just a boy named Samuel Moore Walton, born in Kingfisher, Oklahoma, a place so small most maps didn't even highlight it. His parents weren't rich. In fact, his family struggled during the Great Depression, when millions of Americans lost their jobs, homes, and savings. His father, Thomas Walton, was a farm loan appraiser, a job that made them move constantly. His mother, Nancy Lee, was a warm, strong woman who believed deeply in education and hard work. Sam had one younger brother, James Bud Walton. Together, the two boys grew up in a world where nothing was guaranteed. They didn't have luxuries, but what they did have was character, built by doing chores, selling milk from the family cow, and waking up before sunrise to help out. As a child, Sam hated wasting time. He worked paper routes before school, milked cows before sunrise, joined the Boy Scouts, and became the youngest Eagle Scout in his state. From the beginning, he wanted to do more than survive. He wanted to win, not for glory, but for purpose. Sam Walton was a genius. He wasn't born with money or power, but he had two gifts, a deep hunger to learn and a deep love for people. In high school, he played football, basketball, and baseball, not because he was the best, but because he never gave up. He was the kind of person who would stay late, practice longer, and give 110% every single time. Even if he failed, he tried again. After high school, he couldn't afford a fancy college, but he was determined. He took a loan and went to University of Missouri, studying economics. He worked odd jobs to pay his fees, waiting tables, cleaning, managing his time with military-style discipline. At graduation, the world was at war. World War II had begun, and like many young men, Sam joined the Army Intelligence Corps, where he served with honor. It was during this time, not in a business school, not in an office, but during war, that Sam learned his most powerful lesson. Details matter, people matter. You must think like a soldier, but serve like a human being. After the war ended, Sam married Helen Robson, a smart, confident, no-nonsense woman from a well-off family in Oklahoma. Helen wasn't just a housewife. She was the backbone of Sam's journey. She challenged him, supported him, and made one thing clear: we will not waste our lives. We will build something big or die trying. With $5,000 from his savings and a $20,000 loan from his father-in-law, Sam bought a small Ben Franklin variety store in Newport, Arkansas. He was just 26 years old. No business experience, no big investors. Just a dream to serve customers better than anyone else ever had. He worked every single day from opening to closing, checking every price tag, talking to every customer, cleaning the floors himself, and studying the competition like a detective. Sam didn't just want to sell things. He wanted to understand people. He would drive for hours to visit rival stores and take notes on everything: layout, pricing, customer behavior. He wasn't afraid to learn from others, even his competitors. While most store owners raised prices to earn more profit, Sam did the opposite. He lowered prices to earn the customer's trust. People thought he was crazy. "Why are you cutting your own profit?" they asked. But Sam knew something they didn't. If you give people a good deal, they come back, and they bring their friends. That was the beginning of a revolution. Just as things were going great, Sam's store was becoming popular, making more money than anyone in town. But there was a problem. He didn't own the building. He had only signed a 5-year lease. When those years ended, the landlord refused to renew the lease and took the store away from Sam. Why? Because the landlord saw how profitable Sam's ideas were and wanted to give the business to his own son. Sam lost everything: the location, the brand, the customer base. All the hard work was gone. He could have given up. He could have complained, cried, or quit. But he didn't. He took a deep breath, packed up his life, and moved to a small town called Bentonville, Arkansas. There, with a burning heart and nothing but his brain and wife, he opened a new store. That store would later become the first Walmart. It was 1950. Bentonville wasn't a place for billionaires. It wasn't a big city with big investors. It was a quiet little town with one main street, a few farmers, a few teachers, and a lot of dreams. But for Sam Walton, Bentonville was a blank canvas he needed. He rented a small building and opened a store called Walton's 5 and 10. It wasn't flashy. There was no giant signboard, no grand opening. Just Sam, his wife, and a store full of small products: socks, school supplies, cleaning items, candy, and toys. But there was one thing that made the store different. What made Sam's store different wasn't the location, the prices, or even the size. It was his obsession with people. From a very first day, Sam had a way of doing things. He didn't call his system, but it became the foundation of Walmart's success. First, serve the customer like their family. Sam didn't just say hello. He walked customers to the shelf, carried their bags, asked them what they didn't like, and fixed it. For him, the customer wasn't just the reason for success. The customer was success. Second, buy cheap, sell cheaper, and make it up in volume. This was radical at the time. Most stores wanted to make big profits on each item. Sam wanted small profits on many items. Instead of selling a few things at a high margin, he dreamed of selling thousands at a low margin. He once said, "If we lower prices by just a cent and sell 1,000,000 units, that's thousands of dollars saved for our customers." They'll never forget that. Third, never stop learning from others. Sam visited other stores every weekend. He carried notebooks and wrote down ideas, designs, and product placements. He never acted like he knew everything. For him, borrowing ideas ethically and improving them wasn't weakness. It was wisdom. What set him apart was his relentless discipline. Even after opening multiple stores, he would drive hundreds of miles on weekends to visit competitors. He'd walk inside like a regular shopper, observe the aisles, study the prices, note the customer service, and fill page after page with observations. Then he'd return and apply those ideas immediately. Sam didn't live behind an office desk. He lived in his stores, learning from real people. He called it retail education, not in a university, but in real life. By the end of the 1950s, Sam had several small stores, and they were doing well, but something still bothered him. He noticed that most rural towns in America were ignored by big retailers. Large chains only went to the big cities, while small towns were left with high prices, poor selection, and limited service. Sam saw the gap. He asked himself, what if we built a large store in a small town with low prices, high variety, and great service? Wouldn't people drive from miles away? Investors laughed at the idea. Big businessmen told him, that will never work. Rural people don't buy much. But Sam had seen enough. He knew rural America was hungry for value, and no one was serving them. So he gathered his courage. He convinced his wife. He borrowed money. And in Rogers, Arkansas, Sam Walton opened the first Walmart discount city. The store was big for its time, but modest compared to what we know today. No automatic doors, no flashy technology, no giant promotions. just shelves filled with discounted products, from clothes to electronics to groceries. People were curious. Some laughed, some doubted. But when they stepped inside, they saw the prices, the variety, and the honesty of the place. They didn't just come back once. They returned every week, bringing their families, neighbors, and even entire towns. Word of mouth spread like wildfire. Sales rose. Customers became loyal fans. Sam didn't build Walmart alone. His wife, Helen, was part of every major decision. His brother, Bud, joined the business, and soon his children helped too. This wasn't a cold corporate empire built by men in glass towers. It was a family business built on trust, effort, and simplicity. Sam also believed in employee ownership. He gave his store managers a stake in the business. If they helped the store grow, they earned more. This made employees think like owners, not just workers. By the end of the 1960s, Walmart had grown from one dream to dozens of stores. The growth was explosive. But more important than the number of stores was the way they operated. Every location followed Sam's rules. Lower prices than anyone in town, friendly staff who genuinely cared, clean aisles, organized shelves, managers trained like leaders, and a community atmosphere. People didn't feel like customers. They felt like family. Sam made sure every new store was close enough for him to personally visit, inspect, and improve. He wasn't just building a business. He was building a movement. While other businessmen chased luxury offices and magazine covers, Sam Walton stayed focused on three things. Drive a used truck, not a luxury car. So his employees knew he was one of them. Focus on saving pennies, not spending dollars, flying economy, sharing hotel rooms, and reusing supplies. Keep learning like a beginner, reading reports, visiting stores, and talking to everyone with respect, from a janitor to a vice president. He often said, the moment you think you're too big to learn is the moment you start shrinking. By the early 1970s, Walmart wasn't just a clever idea anymore. It wasn't just one man's dream. It had become a growing engine of value, a quiet rebellion against overpriced goods, poor service, and outdated retail. And the engine was getting stronger, faster, and more dangerous for competitors. Sam wasn't satisfied. He didn't wake up asking, how many stores can we open? Instead, he asked, how can we open stores faster, better, and smarter than anyone else in history? He was no longer just a shopkeeper. He was the architect of a nationwide revolution. Most businessmen grow one store, then two, then 10. Sam Walton built one store, then built the systems that would allow thousands more to follow. He knew that if you want to grow fast, you can't just copy and paste stores. You must build a machine that makes stores. While others focus on branding and image, Sam obsessed over logistics, distribution, and information systems. If you want to serve millions, you must master how to move goods quickly, keep prices low, and know exactly what the customer wants. That mindset transformed Walmart from a retailer into a retail engine. In the early 1970s, Walmart made a decision that shocked competitors. Instead of relying on third-party distributors, Sam Walton decided to build his own supply chain. That meant Walmart trucks, Walmart warehouses, and Walmart's own system of moving goods. Sam Walton never wore expensive watches. He never hired bodyguards. He lived in the same modest house, walked alone into stores, and kept asking the same questions. What's the customer saying? How can we make it cheaper? What's not working? People called him crazy. Sam called it discipline. Walmart soon made another bold move. It decided to go international, starting with Mexico. Many thought it was a bad idea. Retail is local, cultures are different, and supply chains are complex. But Walmart studied the market, adapted its model, and partnered with local businesses. The result was Walmart de Mexico, which would go on to become one of the largest retail operations in Latin America. From there, Walmart expanded across the world to Canada, China, Chile, Brazil, Argentina, India, and the United Kingdom. And it did this not by force of American systems everywhere, but by listening, adjusting, and respecting local needs. The goal never changed. Low prices, every day, everywhere. Around this time, Sam Walton did something he never thought he would do. He wrote a book, not for fame, not for money, But because he wanted to explain his values before it was too late, the book was called Made in America, My Story. It wasn't filled with abstract theories or business jargon. It was filled with real stories, failures, early decisions, and his raw, honest philosophy. Never get arrogant. Always think like the customer. Respect your people. Keep costs low. Always keep learning. The book became a bestseller, not because it was polished or perfect, but because it told the truth behind his success. But while Walmart was dominating retail, Sam Walton received devastating news. He was diagnosed with bone cancer. He didn't stop working. He didn't disappear. He didn't even tell the world at first. Instead, he kept visiting stores, kept writing, kept training his people. He once said, "I don't know how much time I have, but I know what I'm here to do, and I'm not done yet." Even in pain, he traveled across the country to meet employees, whom he always called associates. He didn't want to be remembered as a man who gave up. He wanted to be remembered as a man who gave everything. In his final months, Sam Walton was awarded America's highest civilian honor, the Presidential Medal of Freedom. At the ceremony, he was frail, sitting in a wheelchair, but his words were powerful. Holding the medal in his hands, he said, "If we work together, we'll give the world an opportunity to live better every single day." The audience stood and applauded, not for a rich man, not for a businessman, but for a humble store owner who had never stopped serving. Only weeks later, Sam Walton passed away in Little Rock, Arkansas. He was 74 years old. The man who had revolutionized retail, who had built an empire of savings, who had dedicated his life to serving customers, was gone. The news shook the country. Stores across America paused. Flags were lowered. Employees cried. Customers left handwritten notes at Walmart entrances. People who had never met him, farmers, teachers, workers, families, said the same thing. He changed how we live. He changed how we shop. He changed what we believe is possible. But the most important part of the story is what happened next. Walmart didn't collapse. It didn't slow down. It didn't get lost. Why? Because Sam Walton had built a system, not a personality cult. His life's work was training leaders, building processes, and creating a culture of simplicity, service, and savings. He didn't want Walmart to depend on him. He wanted it to outlive him. And it did. Leadership passed to his son, Rob Walton, as chairman of the board. But Rob didn't try to be Sam. He respected the culture, honored the systems, and protected the mission. Executives who had been trained by Sam carried on his principles. Keep prices low, expand carefully, respect the associates, use data instead of ego, and stay humble no matter how big the company became. By the time of Sam's passing, Walmart was already the largest retailer in America. But that was only the beginning. In the years that followed, revenues doubled, then tripled. Walmart was selling more each year than the entire economies of some countries. It didn't happen by magic. Walmart's strategy stayed the same, but its tools grew more advanced. Technology transformed the company. Every time a customer bought something, that information was instantly sent to headquarters. Computers tracked inventory, sales patterns, and delivery times. If a shelf was low on diapers in Ohio, the system automatically restocked from the nearest warehouse. The system became so efficient that Walmart's supply chain was considered the most sophisticated in the world. Even the U.S. military studied it to learn how to move supplies faster. Walmart wasn't just a retailer anymore. It was an intelligence network, predicting demand before it happened, restocking faster than anyone else, and keeping costs lower than inflation. And that meant only one thing. Prices kept going down, savings kept going up, and customers loved it. After Sam Walton's death, Walmart didn't just expand in the United States. It went global quickly and strategically. In Mexico, Walmart grew into the country's largest retailer, with thousands of stores by the new century. In Canada, it entered the market by acquiring an existing chain and became a dominant leader in less than 2 years. In the United Kingdom, Walmart bought one of the nation's largest supermarket chains and became a top competitor overnight. In other parts of the world, China, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, India, Walmart used different strategies. Sometimes it built new stores. Other times it acquired local chains or partnered with established companies. The goal was never to force American culture everywhere, but to bring Walmart's efficiency into local systems. That meant hiring local workers, using local suppliers, respecting local preferences, while keeping the company's trademark strengths of efficiency and low pricing. Even after Sam was gone, Walmart lived by one principle: the customer is the boss. In practice, this meant tracking which items were most popular in each city, giving managers freedom to adjust store layouts, and updating prices daily to stay competitive. If a customer had a complaint, it could quickly rise to the highest levels of leadership. Walmart wasn't just a giant company. It was a flexible one, able to act fast, change quickly, and adapt to new markets. But in the late 1990s and early 2000s, a new challenge appeared, not from rival retailers, but from the internet. Companies like Amazon, eBay, and Target's online store offered digital shopping, fast delivery, and lower prices. Walmart could have ignored this shift, but instead it adapted. It launched its own online platform, invested in e-commerce teams, introduced by online pickup and store services, and partnered with tech firms to improve warehouse automation. The company understood the future was digital, but customers still wanted Walmart's promise: low prices, no matter how they shopped. Even as Walmart grew to employ over 1 million people worldwide, the culture Sam Walton built remained intact. Executives were still required to visit stores, talk with associates, watch checkout lines, and stay close to the customer experience. Morning meetings continued in stores, where employees clapped, stretched, and shared wins. These weren't just rituals. They kept the workforce unified, energized, and motivated. Sam's legacy wasn't written on walls. It lived in actions, repeated every morning in every Walmart store. Of course, not everything worked out. Walmart failed in Germany, where its culture didn't fit local shopping habits. It struggled in South Korea and eventually withdrew. It faced legal battles, employee strikes, and criticism over environmental and labor practices. But unlike companies blinded by arrogance, Walmart listened, studied its mistakes, and adjusted. The company wasn't pretending to be perfect. It was learning fast, acting faster, and always moving forward. Walmart had grown into the most powerful retailer the world had ever seen. By the early 2000s, its sales had surpassed the wildest expectations, reaching levels once thought unimaginable. Yet the company wasn't finished. It continued to grow, adapt, and expand, not only in size but in mission. From the beginning, Sam Walton had been clear: the company existed to help people live better. Now, with Sam gone and Walmart larger than most governments, the question remained: would it stay true to that promise, or lose itself in its own success? The answer was complicated. As Walmart reached historic milestones, critics grew louder. Workers asked why wages were still so low. Some employees worked full-time yet struggled to survive. Protests erupted. Documentaries exposed worker conditions, and activists accused Walmart of saving customers money at the cost of employee dignity. These concerns were not just outside noise. They came from the people who had given years of service to the company. For a time, Walmart was slow to respond. Expansion had been its focus, and in the rush to build globally, it had overlooked issues within its own workforce. But eventually, the company shifted. Leaders recognized that if Walmart wanted to lead the world in business, it also had to lead in human values. The company began raising wages, often above national minimum standards. It invested in employee education, partnering with colleges to help workers earn degrees while on the job, covering most of the tuition, and offering flexible schedules so that a cashier could one day graduate from college. It also launched major sustainability efforts, reducing plastic packaging, investing in renewable energy, cutting carbon emissions, and working with farmers to improve agricultural practices. Walmart was no longer only about low prices. It was beginning to focus on building a better future. Then came its toughest rival yet, Amazon. The online giant was dominating home delivery, e-commerce, and digital convenience. Walmart's physical stores were still strong, but shopping habits were shifting to phones and laptops. The company faced a choice: protect its existing empire or transform into something new. Walmart chose transformation. It invested heavily in e-commerce, acquiring tech-driven companies, launching its own membership service, expanding grocery delivery, and upgrading stores with smart technology. Thousands of employees were retrained in digital tools, AI, robotics, and logistics. Walmart was becoming a technology-driven service company, while still holding on to its original heart: low prices and human service. In the new decade, Walmart shocked the world by moving into healthcare. It opened clinics inside stores, offering affordable doctor visits, dental care, and even mental health services. It partnered with insurance providers and sought ways to make prescriptions cheaper for families. Healthcare became its new frontier, driven by Sam Walton's belief that Walmart was not just in the retail business, but in the people business. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck, Walmart faced one of its greatest challenges. As an essential service, it could not shut down. The company had to protect workers, keep shelves stocked amid broken supply chains, and serve frightened and frustrated customers across dozens of countries, each with different rules. Walmart responded with urgency, installing safety barriers, distributing protective gear, giving bonuses to employees, expanding online delivery, and even offering vaccinations inside stores. It wasn't perfect, but it showed one thing clearly. When the world was in crisis, Walmart kept serving. When the world panicked, Walmart kept serving. Sam Walton didn't just build stores. He didn't just create jobs. He didn't just cut prices. He built a belief system, a way of living that said, stay humble even if you become powerful. Put people first even when profits grow. Act like an owner even if you're just starting. Never stop learning even when you succeed. He believed in everyday people, not celebrities, not CEOs, not billionaires, but the worker, the mother, the farmer, the truck driver, the high school student. And through them, he proved one simple truth. You don't need to be born rich to change the world. You just need a truck, a plan, and a reason that matters. Today, Walmart is worth hundreds of billions of dollars, employs millions of people, and serves entire nations. But in Bentonville, Arkansas, the old Walton 5 and 10 store still stands. Visitors come every day. They walk through the tiny aisles. They see Sam's handwritten notes, his pickup truck, his favorite dog's picture, his old desk, and they realize it all began here. No money, no power, no fame, just a dream to make life better for others. This isn't just a company's journey. It's a human journey. It's about how far you can go if you never give up. It's about doing things the hard way, the honest way. It's about building something so real that even after you're gone, it keeps helping people live better. And that is the real success of Sam Walton. Not the stores, not the numbers, not the wealth, but the truth that you can come from nothing and still give everything.